All right, welcome back from the previous video. If you are just now looking at this video and you want to, you know, follow along with us, what I did was I put a link down in the description below, and you can go ahead and download this project and start off with us. Or if you were following along with us from the previous videos and your project files are all jacked up, then you can go ahead and start with this one. Go ahead and download it so you're not left behind, or take pieces of this and put it in your own and then go from there. Whatever you want to do, it's fine. Let's just go ahead and get started on this one. And what we already have from the previous videos, we have this alien ship that actually we have the navigation to it. We were taking the navigation off from the logic that we did on these buttons, like this north, east, south, and west. And as you can see here, one of these buttons don't even have a label on it. But if I hit F5 here, we have an alien ship here where if I use the left arrow key, right arrow key, up and down, it'll move in those respective directions. Also, it loads this information from the JSON file, and it creates or pulls the cave object from the JSON file. Now, there's a huge problem that we have here, but we had that problem because we were learning about importing JSON, and we just had to do what we had to do. So we're instantiating and creating caves based off of this JSON file, when actually we're doing a lot of extra work for no reason. Really, instead of instantiating caves, we probably should just made a reference to a cave and then instantiate the cave. But in any case, we did it for educational purpose. Now we have to start cleaning that stuff up. So there's a couple of things we want to be able to do. We want when the ship moves over to the east area, we want this to change. We want the cave to change. So instead of us clicking on east and west and south and going through the caves, we want the alien ship to do that for us with movement instead of with button clicks. So let's take a quick look actually at what we have for our map. Right now, when we go to we start off in Cave A, and if we were to go north, we're going to go through the west gates of the Cave B. And so you can't go north and you can't go east in Cave B, but you can go south and end up in Cave C. So this is the logic we have from the previous one, and we want to maintain this logic inside of the new version of our cave. So since we already have the logic, you would think it'll be just straightforward to go ahead and do it. But no, we have to change a few things because we're not doing it by button click. We're doing it by areas of collision. And so now we're starting to understand that we have to recognize when this is in this area as opposed to recognizing a click itself. So it may seem like, okay, well, we'll just take on this image right here and we'll just go ahead and make a collision between this left area here or this right or top area. But there's an issue with that in that we don't really want to. I mean, I have a video up right now that describes how to type, how to code your own collision detection, some basic collision detection. But why would I do that when WPF, VB.NET, C#, they have something called a rect. And a rect is not a rectangle, but it's like a rectangle that is not rendered. It's something that you don't see. But the rect has a special property to it, and that special property can determine whether another rect has collided with it, if there's some collision. So there's automatic collision detection there, which will make our lives a lot easier as opposed to writing out our own collision detection. But again, a rect can't be rendered. So how do we do this? Well, let's look at this for a second. So here we have our canvas, and on our canvas we're going to have, let's say, our alien ship here. And let me just give this a different color so that way we know that this is our alien ship. So this is my ship. Now our ship, we can literally move around the canvas. We can move left, down, up, and right. And if it gets to this area over here, we want it to be able to say, let me just put something over here. It could be a door. It could be almost anything. So when it gets to this area here, we want to be able to say, okay, it's going into the west door. And if it gets to this area over here, it's going to the east door, right? So, but we don't want to create our own collision detection. So what we intend to do actually is create what's called a rect. And a rect is invisible, but what we want to be able to do is create a rect and then create another rect over here. So that way when these two rects collide, when these two rects collide, that's when we get our collision detection, and we will go ahead and use that. But the thing is, we need our ships X and our ships Y to equal the rects X and Y. So the rect has its own X and Y, right? And the ship has its own X and Y. So what I want to be able to do is take the rects X and Y. So I'm going to take this X value and this Y value here. And what I want to be able to do is send that over to the ship. So now every time this rect moves, the ship moves with it. So I'm going to lock the ship's the ship's X and Y with the rects X and Y. So it'll look something like this, right? This will look something like that. So now every time this rect moves, the ship moves. So the other thing is that because this is a rect and this is a rect, it automatically has that property that detects whether these two have collided, and that's what our intention is. So in our project, we only have our ship, so we have to create a rect to follow that the ship will follow, and then we have to create a rect for the area instead of the button itself. So hopefully that clears everything up. So that's what we're going to do. I'll see you guys in the next video, and we'll get started coding.